The massive crystal chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as Ambassador Sarah Chen rose from her seat. Her plain black uniform stood out like a dark star against the rainbow of alien delegates surrounding her. 200 species watched as she gathered her single data pad. No ceremonial robes, no glowing tech, just simple human efficiency. The Terran Republic withdraws from these proceedings, Sarah announced, her voice cutting through the translator fields like a blade. Effective immediately. Council Speaker Vexithar's tentacles writhed in distress, his blue skin shifting to alarmed purple. Ambassador Chen, surely we can discuss this further. Your species has been part of this council for only 50 standard years. There is much you still don't understand about galactic politics. Sarah's laugh was cold as vacuum. Oh, we understand perfectly. She gestured to the floating hologram displaying the latest trade sanctions, the 7th set imposed on human colonies in the past year. We understand that every proposal we make gets buried in committee. We understand that our colony ships are accidentally denied navigation permits. We understand that when pirates attack our freight convoys, the Council's response time somehow always doubles. Delegate Morgoth, a crystalline being from the Andorian collective, chimed like broken glass. The humans are being dramatic. These are standard regulatory procedures. Standard? Sarah's eyes blazed. When the Zelthran hegemony wanted to expand into the Rigel sector, permits were approved in 6 days. When we apply for the same region, we've been waiting 8 months. The chamber erupted in a symphony of alien voices, clicks, whistles, harmonics, and subsonic rumbles. Sarah waited for the chaos to settle, then continued. You want to know what's not standard? Human efficiency, human innovation. The fact that in 50 years we've gone from a single world to 47 colonies without asking anyone's permission. She paused, letting that sink in. The fact that our primitive technology keeps outperforming your 1,000-year-old designs. High Counselor Zephyr, a being of living energy contained in a crystalline framework, pulsed anxiously. The Council provides stability, order, peace. The Council provides stagnation. Sarah picked up her data pad. Humanity chooses progress. As she walked toward the exit, her footsteps echoing in the crystal cathedral, whispers spread through the chamber. Like wildfire, the universal translator couldn't quite capture the nuances, but the meaning was clear. Fear. Behind her, Speaker Vexthar called out one last time. Ambassador, if you leave now, humanity will stand alone against the galaxy. No protection, no trade agreements, no allies. Sarah paused at the threshold, not turning around. Speaker Vexthar, with respect, when have we ever not stood alone? The massive doors sealed behind her with a sound like thunder, leaving the council in stunned silence. Chapter 2. Ripple Effects. 3 days after humanity's dramatic exit, the emergency session of the Inner Council convened in the restricted Obsidian Chamber. Only the 20 most powerful species were present, their holographic forms flickering around a table carved from a single black asteroid. High Counselor Zephyr's energy field crackled with anxiety. The humans have closed their borders. Every trade route, every diplomatic channel sealed. Good riddance, growled Commander Krex of the Vorthan military caste, his scarred reptilian features twisted in disdain. Let the hairless apes crawl back to their little blue world. Advisor Quintel, a graceful being from the aquatic world of Delphine, projected concern through her bioluminescent patterns. Commander, the humans control 17 major shipping lanes now. Their closure affects 43 species directly. Temporarily, Krex snorted. We'll establish new routes within a year. Using what ships? The question came from Merchant Prince Veltar of the Centauri Trade Federation, his golden skin dulled with worry. Human shipyards produce 40% of the galaxy's civilian vessels. Their fusion drives are 20% more efficient than our best alternatives. The chamber fell silent. It was an uncomfortable truth everyone knew but no one discussed. Human technology, despite being relatively new, had quietly become indispensable. Zephyr pulsed dimly. There's more. Intelligence reports suggest the humans have been preparing for this moment. A holographic display materialized above the table. It showed the human colonies, not scattered outposts as everyone assumed, but a carefully planned network. Each world was positioned at strategic jump points, equipped with powerful sensors and defensive platforms. This isn't random expansion, breathed scientific advisor Noxera, her crystalline body refracting the light into worried rainbows. This is a designed infrastructure. Krex leaned forward, his predatory instincts triggered. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting, Zephyr said carefully, that humanity has been planning to leave the Council since the day they joined it. The implications hit the chamber like a shockwave. For 50 years, while the Council had been managing and restricting humanity, humanity had been quietly building something else entirely. What do we know about their military capabilities now? Asked General Thane of the Polaris Defense Corps, her cybernetic implants glowing blue with processing power. Quintel's patterns shifted to deep concern. That's the problem. We don't know. For 50 years, human military data has been shared with the Council as required. But 3 days ago, she gestured, and the display changed to show nothing but empty data fields. Everything classified, above standard defense level, vanished from our databases. Vanished? Krex's voice was a dangerous whisper. Wiped clean, not just restricted, completely removed, as if it never existed. The silence stretched until Veltar spoke, his voice trembling slightly. My contacts in the shipping industry are reporting something else. Human cargo manifests for the past 2 years. They don't match shipping weights. Meaning? Meaning, they've been moving far more mass than they've been declaring. Either they've been hiding cargo from customs inspectors, or they've been building something they don't want us to know about, finished General Thane grimly. High Counselor Zephyr's energy field dimmed to barely visible levels. Send word to all member species. We need to know everything about current human activities. Mining operations, construction projects, population movements, everything. As the inner council dispersed, each member carried the same growing dread. For the first time in 1,000 years, a species had not just left the Galactic Council. They had prepared to leave, planned for it, and executed their exit with surgical precision. The question that haunted every delegate was simple. What did the humans know that they didn't? Thoshi were. Chapter 3. The human gambit Admiral Marcus Kane stood on the bridge of the Endeavor, humanity's newest and most classified starship, watching the tactical display with satisfaction. Around him, his diverse bridge crew worked with the quiet efficiency that had become humanity's trademark in space. Report, Commander Torres, Kane said to his Latina second-in-command, whose fingers danced across holographic controls. All colonies have confirmed transition to Stage 2 protocols, Admiral. Border systems are fully operational. The Kessler network is online. Kane nodded. The Kessler network, named after an old Earth scientist who predicted space debris cascades, was humanity's greatest secret. For 5 years, they'd been placing seemingly innocent navigation beacons throughout human space. The Council had approved them without question, seeing them as primitive human attempts at basic spaceflight safety. They were anything but. Sir, called out Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka from the sensor station, her Japanese accent crisp with professional precision. We're detecting Council probe ships at the edge of the Ross 128 system. 3 vessels maintaining distance but clearly scanning. Let them scan. Kane smiled grimly. They'll find exactly what we want them to find. Dr. Amara Okafor, the ship's chief science officer and Kane's closest advisor, approached with a data pad. Her Nigerian heritage showed in her confident bearing and sharp analytical mind. Marcus, the psych profiles from the council meeting are complete. Ambassador Chen's performance was inspired. Sarah always did have a flair for the dramatic. Kane chuckled. What's the analysis? Exactly as predicted. The council is reacting with a mixture of confusion, anger, and fear. The inner council has called emergency sessions. They're scrambling to understand what we're really doing. Kane's expression grew serious. And what are we really doing, Doctor? Amara's smile was enigmatic. Saving the galaxy, of course, whether they want us to or not. On the main screen, star charts showed the current galactic political situation. The Zelthran hegemony controlled the southern spiral arm through military conquest. The Vorthon military caste dominated the core worlds through intimidation. The Audiobook Andorian collective had claimed the outer rim through economic manipulation. Between them, smaller species existed as client states or prey. Sir, Torres interrupted. Incoming priority transmission from deep space monitor stations. It's unusual. Put it through. The display flickered, showing Dr. Elena Vasquez, humanity's most brilliant astrophysicist, calling from the research station at the edge of human space. Her usually calm expression was strained with urgency. Admiral, we've detected massive gravitational anomalies beyond the galactic rim. The pattern matches theoretical models for an invasion fleet using exotic propulsion. The bridge fell silent. Kane felt his blood chill. Size estimate, Doctor? Minimum 10,000 vessels, possibly more. They're using some kind of space-time manipulation we've never seen before. Admiral? Elena paused, checking her data again. Based on current approach vectors and velocity, they'll reach the outer rim in approximately 18 months. Kane closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of knowledge no one else in the galaxy possessed. When he opened them, his expression was steel. Thank you, Doctor. Continue monitoring and report any changes immediately. After the transmission ended, the bridge crew stared at their admiral. Finally, Dr. Okafor spoke the question everyone was thinking. How long have we known? 7 years, Kane replied quietly. Ever since we established the deep space array at Alpha Centauri. We've been tracking the anomalies, running projections, preparing. Commander Torres's voice was tight with controlled emotion. 7 years and we said nothing to the Council? Kane turned to face his crew, humans all, but representing every continent and culture of Earth. Tell me, Commander, what would the Council have done with this information? Torres considered. Formed a committee, debated whether the threat was real, argued about response protocols, spent years in bureaucratic paralysis while the enemy approached. Exactly. And while they debated, real species would die. The Zelthrans would demand military command. The Vorthons would want to negotiate. The Androrians would try to profit from the crisis. Meanwhile, the outer rim colonies, the smallest, weakest species, would be exterminated first. Lieutenant. Tanaka looked up from her console. So we chose to prepare alone. We chose to prepare efficiently, Kane corrected. Every human colony established in the past 7 years has been positioned for defense. Every trade negotiation we've conducted has been intelligence gathering. Every failed proposal in the Council has been a deliberate distraction. Dr. Okafor smiled with proud admiration. The long game. The survival game, Kane replied. And, now with humanity officially outside Council jurisdiction, we can move to the final phase. Which is? Torres asked. Kane's smile was predatory. We save the galaxy, and if the Council tries to stop us. He gestured to the tactical display showing the Kessler network's true capabilities. We save it anyway. As if summoned by his words, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Lieutenant Tanaka's voice cut through the noise. Admiral, multiple Council battle fleets are moving toward our borders. The Zelthrans, Vorthons, and Androrians, they're forming a joint task force. Kane's expression didn't change. How many ships? Over 2,000, sir. It's the largest combined fleet in Council history. Time to intercept? 48 hours at current speed. Kane nodded calmly. Signal all human colonies. Activate Phase 3 protocols. He paused, then added with quiet determination, it's time to show the galaxy what humanity really is. Chapter 4. The revelation the combined Council fleet hung in space like a metallic storm cloud. 2,000 ships representing 40 different species united in unprecedented cooperation. At its heart, the massive command vessel, Unity, hosted representatives from every major power in the galaxy. High Counselor Zephyr's energy form flickered with barely contained anxiety as he addressed the War Council. Intelligence confirms, human ships are massing at the Tau Ceti system. Their response to our fleet movements has been minimal. Commander Krex's scarred features twisted into a predatory grin. Minimal because they know they're outgunned 200 to 1. Even human arrogance has limits. General Thane, her cybernetic implants processing tactical data streams, disagreed. I don't like it. Humans don't surrender. They adapt. On the INA main display, long-range sensors showed the human fleet, barely a dozen ships compared to the Council's armada. But something felt wrong to experienced military minds. Sir, reported the Centauri sensor operator, we're detecting energy signatures from the human vessels unlike anything in our databases. Before anyone could respond, space around the Council fleet changed. It started as a shimmer, like heat, distortion in vacuum where no heat should exist. Then reality itself seemed to fold, and humanity's true fleet materialized. Not dozens of ships, hundreds. Sleek, angular vessels that seemed to bend light around their hulls appearing from nowhere, with impossible grace. Stealth technology, breathed scientific advisor Noxera. But our sensors should detect. Your sensors detect what we allow them to detect, came a calm human voice over the communication channels. Admiral Kane's image appeared on screens. Throughout the Council fleet, his expression neither hostile nor friendly, simply determined. Behind him, the bridge of the Endeavor hummed with activity, displaying technology that made Council ships look primitive. Council forces, Kane continued, you are trespassing in human space. You have one opportunity to withdraw. Commander, Krex's laughter was harsh. One human fleet against the combined might of the galaxy? You're outnumbered. Are we? Kane interrupted. Space lit up with new energy signatures. The navigation beacons humanity had placed throughout the galaxy weren't beacons at all. They were weapon platforms. Thousands of them, positioned at every major shipping lane, near every Council world, throughout every system that mattered. The Kessler network revealed its true purpose. Not navigation assistance, but the galaxy's most comprehensive defensive grid. Impossible, whispered High Counselor Zephyr. The energy requirements alone are easily met when you understand zero-point energy extraction. Dr. Okafor's voice joined the transmission. A technology we developed 6 years ago, among others. On tactical displays throughout the Council fleet, targeting systems screamed warnings. Every Council ship was locked onto by multiple human weapons platforms. The hunters had become the hunted in a single moment. But Kane wasn't finished. Council leaders, there's something you need to understand. Humanity didn't leave the Council because we were frustrated with bureaucracy. We left because we've been preparing for a threat you don't even know exists. The main display changed, showing Dr. Vasquez's deep space readings, the massive gravitational anomalies, the approaching fleet, the timeline for invasion. 18 months, Kane continued as stunned silence gripped the Council ships. 18 months until the Devourers reached the outer rim. Devourers. General Thane's voice was barely a whisper. Extra-galactic nomads. They've consumed 7 galaxies that we know of. They strip worlds of all resources, including biological matter. Every living thing becomes fuel for their expansion. The tactical display shifted again, showing theoretical projections of the invasion. The Outer Rim colonies would fall first. The Delphine Confederation, the Rimward Alliance, the independent traders and explorers. Then the wave would crash inward, consuming everything in its path. This is impossible, Krex stammered. Our deep space sensors would have detected. Your deep space sensors barely reach beyond the galactic rim, Kane replied coldly. Human sensors do. For 7 years we've been tracking, analyzing, preparing. Every colony placement, every technological development, every diplomatic action, all focused on survival. High Counselor Zephyr's energy field pulsed with understanding and horror. The withdrawal from the council, and it was never about politics. Politics are a luxury species have when they're not facing extinction, Kane confirmed. We couldn't waste time with council bureaucracy when the clock was ticking toward galactic annihilation. Commander Torres stepped into view beside Kane. Every human ship you see is equipped with weapons and defenses based on 7 years of preparation. Every human colony is a fortress. Every human citizen is trained for war. But why hide this from us? Demanded Merchant Prince Veltar, his golden skin pale with shock. Dr. Okafor answered, her voice heavy with grim knowledge. Because the Devourers don't just consume matter, they consume information. Every species they've encountered, they've studied first. They know your technologies, your tactics, your weaknesses. Our only advantage, Kane continued, is that they don't know about us. Humanity has been invisible to their surveillance because we've been outside their information networks. Hidden, secret, unknown. The full horror of humanity's strategy became clear. While the Council had seen human isolation as arrogance, it had actually been the galaxy's salvation. By staying separate, by developing in secret, humanity had become the one variable the Devourers couldn't account for. What do you want from us? High Counselor Zephyr asked, his energy field dim with defeat. Kane's expression softened slightly. We want you to live. All of you. Every species in this galaxy deserves the chance to see another sunrise. He gestured, and the tactical display showed new projections, defense plans, evacuation routes, weapon deployments. But survival requires change. The old council system with its committees and debates and political games, it dies here. What replaces it is a unified command structure focused on one goal, stopping the Devourers. And I suppose you want to lead this new structure? Krek snarled, his military pride wounded. Kane's smile was sad. Commander, I don't want to lead anything. I want to go home to Earth and tend my garden. But the Devourers don't care about our wants. He paused, then added with quiet intensity. The question isn't whether humanity will lead the defense. The question is whether the rest of the galaxy will help us save it. As if summoned by his words, new alarms sounded throughout both fleets. Long-range sensors detected massive energy spikes beyond the galactic rim. Dr. Vasquez's voice crackled over emergency channels. All vessels, priority alert. The Devourer fleet has accelerated. New arrival estimate, 8 months, not 18. Repeat, 8 months until they reach the outer rim. In the sudden silence, Admiral Kane's voice carried absolute authority. Council leaders, you have a choice. Unite under human command and fight for survival, or maintain your independence and face extinction alone. He paused, then added with grim finality. Choose quickly. The Devourers won't wait for your committees to reach consensus. Epilogue. The choice. 6 hours after Kane's ultimatum, the council chamber aboard the Unity buzzed with desperate debate. Representatives from 200 species argued, pleaded, and schemed while the universe itself hung in the balance. High Counselor Zephyr maintained order through sheer force of will, his energy field pulsing with exhaustion. The debate had raged through every possible angle, every political consideration, every cultural objection to human authority. The Androrian Collective cannot accept human military command, declared Delegate Morgoth for the 15th time. Our economic systems require autonomous decision-making. There won't be any economic systems if we're all dead, snapped General Thane, her patience finally exhausted. Commander Krex, his warrior pride battling with survival instinct, growled, his frustration. To submit to a species barely 50 years in space, it violates every principle of galactic hierarchy. Principles don't stop extinction, replied Advisor Quintel, her bioluminescent patterns shifting to resigned sadness. The debate might have continued forever, but it was interrupted by an emergency transmission from the deep space monitoring stations. Dr. Vasquez appeared on screen, her face grave with new intelligence. Council members, we've detected advanced scouts from the Devourer fleet. 3 vessels have entered the galactic rim at the Magellanic approach vector. They're sampling. Sampling what? Zephyr demanded. Everything. stellar radiation, planetary compositions, biological signatures. They're cataloging this galaxy the same way they've cataloged the 7 previous ones. The chamber fell silent as the full reality hit home. This wasn't a theoretical threat anymore. The Devourers were here, at the galaxy's edge, preparing their consumption. Merchant Prince Veltar was the first to speak, his voice hollow. "How long do we have?" "The scouts will complete their survey in approximately 6 weeks. After that..." Vasquez paused, checking her data. Based on patterns from consumed galaxies, full invasion begins within days of survey completion. 6 weeks. The number hung in the air like a death sentence. High Counselor Zephyr's energy field flickered with decision. "Dr. Vasquez, patch me through to Admiral Kane immediately." Moments later, Kane's image appeared alongside the scientists. His expression remained neutral, but his eyes showed the weight of galactic responsibility. "Admiral," Zephyr began, his translated voice carrying formal gravity, "the Galactic Council hereby dissolves itself and transfers all military authority to human command, effective immediately." The chamber erupted in gasps, objections, and resigned sighs, but Zephyr continued over the noise. "We have one condition." Kane raised an eyebrow. "High Counselor, you're not exactly in a position to negotiate conditions." "This one you'll accept," Zephyr replied with surprising confidence. "We want our species to survive, Admiral. All of them. Even the ones who can't fight. Even the ones too proud to ask for help. Even the ones who will hate you for saving them." Kane was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. "Agreed. Every species that wants to live will have that chance. Then we have a deal." Zephyr's energy field pulsed with grim determination. "What are your orders, Supreme Commander?" The title hung in space between them. Supreme Commander of all galactic forces, military and civilian. The authority every conqueror in history had dreamed of, handed to humanity not through victory, but through necessity. Kane's response was immediate and decisive. "Begin immediate evacuation of all Outer Rim colonies. Military assets converge on human space for refitting with our defensive technologies. Civilian populations relocate to fortified core worlds." He paused, then added with characteristic human pragmatism, "And someone needs to figure out how to feed 3 trillion refugees while we're fighting for the galaxy's survival." As the Council ships began their transformation from invasion force to evacuation fleet, Admiral Kane remained on the bridge of the Endeavor, staring at star charts that showed the galaxy's new reality. Commander Torres approached, her expression thoughtful. "Marcus, do you think we can actually win this?" Kane was quiet for a long moment, watching the tactical displays shift as humanity's secret weapons came online throughout the galaxy. The Kessler Network, zero-point energy extraction, stealth technology, weapon systems built from 7 years of desperate innovation. "Maria," he said finally, "humans have never been the strongest species in any environment we've encountered. We've never been the fastest, the smartest, or the most numerous. But," Torres prompted. Kane's smile carried the confidence of 4 billion years of evolutionary survival. "But we've always been the most adaptable. And we've never, ever given up." Outside the viewports, the combined fleets of the galaxy began their transformation from political entities to instruments of survival. Thousands of ships, hundreds of species, trillions of lives, all united under human command for the first time in galactic history. The Devourers were coming. But they would find something in this galaxy they had never encountered before. A species that had spent 7 years preparing for their arrival, backed by an entire galaxy, with nothing left to lose. As Admiral Kane began issuing orders that would reshape galactic civilization, one thought echoed through his mind. Let them come. They're about to learn why humanity never stays down. The greatest war in galactic history was about to begin, and for the first time since the Devourers had started their consumption of the universe, they would face an enemy that refused to be prey. The end.